Go.
So today is the 17th of March 2026, which means it's exactly 30 years since Sri Lanka lifted the World Cup way back in 1996. I was 16, I'm now 46, obviously. And it was a fantastic achievement because Sri Lanka had only been playing international cricket for 14 years. And yet they went and achieved the trophy before England did, before New Zealand still haven't, South Africa still haven't. And so they were way ahead of their time. And just before that, 6 months, the year before that, there were signs that Sri Lanka could do something special. They had beaten Pakistan in a test series 2-1. And there were other signs as well with Aravinda de Silva's amazing form for Kent in 1995. And Tony Gregg, at the opening ceremony, when the Sri Lankan team walked out, and we know how much Tony Gregg loved the Sri Lankan players, he said, some people think the surprise package of the tournament. I mean, what prophetic words. Then February, March comes, it's the World Cup, but Australia and the West Indies pull out of their Colombo games. At the time, Sri Lanka, sadly, were in the midst of a civil war. There were some bombings, etc., so the players didn't feel safe. So India and Pakistan send a combined side to fill those fixtures. At the tournament beginning, the odds for Sri Lanka were winning for 66-1, exactly the same as India in 1983, and guess what? India went on to win it. So the group stages, you had Sri Lanka scoring 398 in 50 overs against Kenya. Even in today's standards, nearly 8 runs and over, incredible feat. Remember the quarter-final, Jayasuriya, he 82, he became the player of the tournament. There was one delivery I remember, Philip de Freitas bowling off-spin. He's a pace bowler, but he was bowling off-spin. Jayasuriya launched him into the crowd, and Michael Holding cruelly on commentary said, "This isn't right arm off-spin, this is right arm optimistic." Semi-final, Calcutta. In the first over, Sri Lanka were 1 for 2 after Jayasuriya and Kulawithrana started to smash out without much thought. It didn't matter. Aravinda de Silva came in, scored 66, and Sri Lanka went on to win. And sadly, whilst India were losing, we had them burning down the stadium, etc., and the match had to be suspended. So India actually lost it by default, but they were on the verge of losing, but they had to stop it for safety reasons. And then the final, which was on the 17th of March, a Sunday. And I remember the day before, the 16th, it was Bruno versus Tyson. It was their second fight, Tyson obviously having spent some time in prison. And I had a whole load of school friends come over and we watched it, but we had to wait until about way past midnight for the fight to start. And it only lasted 5 minutes. And because I was so tired, I missed Australia's first innings in the World Cup final, but I woke up for the second when I saw Aravinda score that amazing 107 not out. And Ranatunga fittingly hit the winning runs, 47 not out. And what was interesting also is when there was 1 run to win, obviously scores level, Ian Healy came up to Anurajan and Ranatunga. And remember the context leading up to this. There was the no balling issue with Murali in Australia, Darryl Hare at the Melbourne Test. Ian Healy and Ranatunga always at each other, a lot of aggro between the sides. And now, would you believe it, they were playing each other in the final. But against all of that, Ian Healy came up to Ranatunga and he said, "There won't be time after the game, well played." I thought that was a really moving thing to do. And 2 months ago, I was in touch with Rajiv Ranatunga. I put him in a connection with the Cricketer magazine, for whom I have a semi-professional role. And if you look at the March magazine, they've done a feature on that World Cup 30-year anniversary. They did an interview with him. One of the special moments for me was Tony Gregg at the end of that. He just said, "Look, they've only been playing 14 years, and guess what? They've just taken out the World Cup." At that age, 16, I didn't know that a name ending in N, like Mullaridharan was Tamil. I didn't know that Ranatunga, a name ending in A, was Sinhalese. I had no idea that Chaminda Vaas was Catholic or Jayasuriya was Buddhist. For me, it was just the Sri Lankan team. And you know what? I like it like that. Thank you.